Coming to you live from the Loading Ready Run orbiting underground moon base, it's the LRRcast.
See, you say that, but we're not live.
No, I always say live.
I know, but we're never live.
I know, no one calls me on it.
I just called you on it.
I know.
So what are you going to do now?
James,
Quit.
we do not argue that we are currently live.
I have to quit now.
We're live right now.
Yes, exactly.
But they're not watching us live.
Yes, but Graham is not necessarily saying...
Live, asterisk, to tape.
Ah, okay.
Live to tape.
All right. If we're live to tape,
It's not,
that's fine.
Not strictly tape either, but...
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I don't think it was actually supposed to be a joke, but I always loved that from the old Larry Sanders show. Well, the intro was always live on tape from Hollywood.
You're right. On tape.
Anyway.
I did an episode of sorry, once again, hey everybody, it's the Loading Ready Run podcast. I'm Graham.
I'm James.
I'm Paul.
I'm just this guy. I'm Kathleen.
You're looking pretty good, that guy.
I'm just this guy, you know.
I did an episode of our friend of Top Tech that our friends Johnny, Ian, and Beej do. And Beej normally does the intros for the episode, where I said in the show that he sounds like a constipated Macho Man Randy Savage. Were he introducing this, it would be, and now the LoadingReadyRun.com podcast.
I should have eaten some bread.
Yeah, so I got to do the intro, and I did it more sort of like I just did there. Was now this thing. So
Do they have a different style that they're doing than us?
well, for the intro.
Or no, just for the podcast in general?
Yeah, they're trying to inform people.
Yes.
We do not.
Also,
do that.
they record for about half an hour to 40 minutes, and then actually edit it down.
Oh, well,
Edit
that's
it.
weird.
Yeah.
So it's not live at all.
No.
Whereas at least ours is.
Well,
live tape.
we don't say live in
Yeah,
that one.
like ours has the delightful idiosyncrasies. If you can tell me beforehand that I'm not allowed to do any freestyle raps during the podcast, and I can completely be like, you know what, screw it. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. I do what I want.
We can.
We can.
We've had to
won't.
edit the last two, in fact.
You will not. You
So-
will not edit out my raps.
No, we won't. But we have had to
Just
edit the
watch
last
this
two.
rap.
We edited the one prior because I had to get up
said
and leave
something.
the room.
Yeah.
And the one...
Oh, then 3 weeks in a row then. Because I had to edit like the one that you and Kathleen did. It was just me and Paul. We had to edit
really?
that one as well. Yeah,
We're doing that one.
because Alex joined us halfway
Oh,
through.
right. Because Alex joined us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Because, then the one that Paul and I did, I completely messed up and nearly gave a strip search spoiler. Not a major one, but just...
a little.
Just, who won.
Yeah.
But you know what, though?
Like you do.
Now we can't tell if I actually did deliver a sick rap beat or a sick rap and you guys edited it out.
Well,
It's-
there'd be
it's-
like
Perhaps
a,
at that
Every
unusual
edit
slight
is
pause there.
so obvious though.
there'd be like a jump. We don't move.
the edits are quite obvious.
Not if you're listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you're listening,
If
it's
you're
true.
listening, who knows what happened?
Anyway.
All right.
So we don't have a
I'll
lot
have
to
to
talk
spit
about.
hot fire.
We don't have a lot
next
to talk
week.
about video-wise this week because we've actually been doing pretty well on the loading time front lately.
Woo!
So we are just going to jump right into the Askler. So these are questions that
Hooray.
were asked just this morning on the Loading Ready Run forums. The first question is about magic, so I'm actually going to jump to the second question from Eric90, who has some questions about strip search. I've noticed Graham has a bit of a different voice, lower register, slower cadence. Did he develop his host voice, or is it unintentional? Does he mean in strip search, or just in general?
Yeah,
Oh.
in strip search.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing a hosting voice. I don't know if I'm doing like, I wouldn't say I developed it, but I think I'm doing it intentionally.
Yeah, trying to be more sort of authoritative.
Yeah.
I know when you were doing we're talking about doing the like voiceover stuff. There was like you were sort of experimenting with doing like really announcery type voice.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. The first edit of the of episode 1, I'm doing a lot more of a ominous kind of voice, right? I'm like, and now these 12 people have to battle and they'll win this prize.
To the death.
You know, and as they, come to Seattle, because it started with like Seattle, Washington, home of Penny Arcade.
Right.
And then I got like a note back and they're like, could you try to be a little bit more energetic? And I listened to it again and I was like, oh yeah. So, which is why, now it's like Seattle, Washington. It's not actually, no, that was like Billy Mays, but it's like, it's a lot more sort of, the home of Penny Arcade. And now these 12 people will have to fight for your amusement.
Billy Mays
In a
here
pit.
for Strip Search. It's got feels.
In a pit with sticks.
Feels.
Eric also asks, how did Bradley adapt to scoring a reality show with having to cover different themes and motifs rather than doing shorts? We should get him
Very well.
Yeah. We should get him to call in, actually. Well, he was concerned initially, I gotta say. Like, he was like, how the fuck am I going to do this? We should get him to call into a podcast. I'd love to.
Yeah, or even just like record a bit himself about talking about how he did the music.
What insane person tasked Kathleen with being destroyer of dreams and pictures?
That was Mike and Jerry.
Mike and Jerry.
Who nominated me for the job on the second night, and I said no. And then they said no, and I said no again.
And they were saying no to your no.
Yeah, they're like...
You were like no, and they were like, no, you can't say no.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're your boss. Do it.
Yeah, kind of. And then Graham was like, no, you do it. And I was like, wait.
They wanted you to do it because they thought you'd be funny, and you were. The sad face was beautiful.
Yay.
All right. Ifan asks, what are your feelings about cheese?
I like it.
I'm a fan.
Cheese is good.
I made myself a grilled cheese sandwich for lunch yesterday, and I made it with sharp cheddar. But for the past little while, I've been making grilled cheese sandwiches with blue cheese, and it just didn't compare.
No.
The blue cheese sandwich is
That's
like
not
the
how that-
superior, absolutely the only way to eat grilled cheese now, as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Is which?
I-
The blue cheese way?
The blue
That's
cheese.
blasphemous.
I really
No,
like
it's-
blue cheese, but
No.
I don't know.
Oh, so
Grilled
good.
cheese is
I don't think that would really work
No.
out
cheddar
well.
cheese.
No, it's
That's how it works.
it is a taste.
Classic.
It is amazing. You don't
Not
need
cheese
anything
on the
else.
outside. Cheese on the outside is a shit. That's how you do it.
Cheese on the outside.
Yeah.
How does that even
Wait,
work?
wait, what?
Yeah, man. Cheese on the outside.
How?
Okay, so here's
Wait,
here's
and cheese on the inside?
of course.
Okay.
A little bit of cheese on the outside just to make a little bit of. Okay, so here's how you make grilled cheese.
All right.
You butter a pan.
Okay.
You don't butter the bread.
No, you butter
a
the
pan.
Okay.
Put the 2 slices of bread
Okay.
in the pan. Grated cheese,
Yeah.
grated sharp cheddar cheese
Yeah.
on the inside,
Yeah.
and then a little bit on the other piece of bread. No,
So-
that's a lie. No, sorry.
So you've got two pieces side by side.
You got 2 pieces side by side.
So you put a bunch of.
You put a bunch. So ignore what I said there. You put a bunch on one,
Yeah.
and then you let it sit there for a minute to toast each side.
Right.
Then you put the top on and sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top of that, and then wait. That cheese will melt a little bit, enough
Okay.
that when you flip it, it just doesn't fall off.
Okay.
All right. That cheese will now grill and melt while it's
And get
grilling the
crispy.
onside and getting crispy. And then you do the same thing on the other side. When you flip it, you put a little bit of cheese on the top and then flip it back.
Interesting.
It's awesome.
I've never thought of
Also,
that.
white bread. It has to be white bread.
I can see
Grilled
that.
cheese has to be white bread, in my opinion.
I don't know. The one at the parsonage is really good, and it's like some weird.
It's not
ass
bad.
bread.
I don't like. I mean, like generally, I like.
They also use sharp ass cheddar.
Yeah. Like with other sandwiches, I like 7 grain or whole wheat or something like that. But with grilled cheese, I think it has to be white. It just tastes wrong if it's not.
Yeah.
And
I
then
kind of
like
agree with you on
chocolate
that.
milk.
So
It's like greatest thing in the world.
That's why there's all those cartons of chocolate milk in your
yes,
car.
I have a problem.
To answer your question, we have strong feelings about cheese, apparently.
Well, grilled cheese, also cheese, but let's not get into that. That's just another rabbit hole.
Lord Hosk asks, if I buy any more Loading Ready Run t-shirts, will it stop snowing in April, or does that only work for March? Calling back to one of my favorite t-shirt ads we've ever done.
Matt just yelling.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is what happened.
Yeah.
We should have actually shot something else when it just randomly hailed.
Yeah.
No, it only works in March.
But
you still
don't
should
stop buying
Yeah,
t-shirts.
keep buying t-shirts.
Did you learn anything from the merch episode of Strip Search about your own booths?
Yes,
Yes,
that our
actually.
booths are terrible. And now I remember when we were filming that, and I was like, there's so many good ideas here, and our booths always look bad, and I have to remember all of this stuff.
I
And
don't
of
think our
course
booths always look bad.
They always look kind of meh.
They do not.
And then I forgot all of it because Strip Search, my policy for that was I only know what the current day we're doing is, and I don't know anything about what we did yesterday.
Everything
and what
we
we're
have
doing
is
tomorrow.
Well, we've always opened the DVDs like that, but everything else we have is flat.
Yeah,
We
like
need, like vertical things.
our booth is fine, but what I'm hoping that we're gonna have more, like a little bit more sort of like infrastructure stuff. So we're hoping to get some, like some little racks so we can display things a little better, rather than just having them laid out on the table, which is, I think, what we usually do. So hopefully, we'll actually be able to show that off at Calgary. Our amazing new booth.
Yeah.
Be prepared to be blown away.
And Lord Hosk also asks, why were there no hangers for the shirts? Well, for one thing, we wouldn't have been able to put them on the walls.
Yeah, there's nothing to hang them on.
Yeah, those walls were like cinder block.
But also, PA doesn't. I don't think they use them. I don't think they use hangers like that.
No, they don't.
No.
Also, it was probably just as well that you edited it out, but we had so much trouble attaching things to those walls.
Oh my god,
The cinder
posters.
block, just because the cinder block is like very porous, and the tape we had was
Bad.
not up to the task.
Yeah.
And so you can see actually a little bit that, like, when it goes to judging, all the posters are attached with like stuff on their corners. When you saw people put
tape
tape on the back,
tape loops
that's because the tape on loops on the back just did not work. Everybody's posters fell down.
constantly.
And so we were like, okay, Robert and Brian, do not judge people on the posters falling down, because that was not their fault.
Yeah, I cut out, and they didn't. I cut out the part where they were addressing the artist and saying, just so you know, we took it into account for how it was when you left it, not after everything fell off the wall.
Oh my god, when I was editing some of the judging footage, you could, like, there was a couple takes that they had to be like, stop, because you were in the back of shot reattaching a poster.
Well, because they'd be
You
in the
just
middle of
hear
a
Sarah
sentence
being
and
like,
you
"Nope."
just see something go in the back. It was awful. Drecon asks, what would you say is your old system D&D alignment? Like, well, we can tell you what we actually played in the old system. Like, I don't think I've ever played a guy that wasn't chaotic good, just because that's how I like to play video games, right?
Hasn't D&D? I mean, I don't think D&D's changed their system.
Didn't we answer this question last week?
Did you?
Didn't we answer a...
We didn't. We
Well,
answered.
They haven't
we
gotten
answered,
their answer yet, because that podcast hasn't gone up.
We answered like a whole bunch of different RPG.
Yeah, but I remember one of them was alignment.
I normally play neutral good.
Yeah.
In D&D, my
Chaotic.
personal alignment is probably closer to lawful, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what my actual real life alignment is.
My real life and D&D alignment is definitely chaotic, but good.
Freds asks, did Kathleen have to be restrained from setting fire to Lexi's strip? It seems like she enjoys destroying them.
No, actually, I did not like doing that at all. I dreaded every single time I did it because, one,
It's funny.
well, one, it was a very stressful thing to put the artists through, obviously, right? And we gave them so much warning. Like, I would warn them when they were going out. Theo would warn them in the car. We warned them before they came back in. I didn't want anybody to be surprised. Like, obviously, it's still very surprising, but, like, they knew it was going... What we said is, like, the loser strip will be destroyed in a humorous manner, right? So everybody was very prepared for that, but still, it's a little harsh. But also just the fact that if something went spectacularly wrong, like, we didn't really have, like, the props to redo that. We would have had to, like, go do, like, a shopping trip, and already those eliminations took, like, 4.5 hours to film, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been bad.
Expando asks, what was Lexi's reaction when you told her she was back on the show? Well, a couple seconds later, on the clip that you saw of me of her opening the door, I say, actually, you're back on the show. She's like, are you fucking serious? And I'm like, yes. Holy shit, I'll be ready in 5 minutes.
Good thing she was like home, that she hadn't been like gone out to a show or something.
She was actually, I think I can say this. She and the other eliminated contestants were arranging a screening of The Hobbit.
Oh.
They were all going to go see The Hobbit at the Cinerama in
night
in Seattle. Yeah, and or the next night or something anyway. And Robert was arranging for the tickets, and Lexi was sort of in charge of that.
Oh,
So she was actually expecting Robert that night anyway.
but for totally different reasons.
Yeah, but when we got to the room, she was like, "That's weird. I thought they were going to meet me in the lobby. That's super strange." And so then suddenly,
that worked out nicely.
suddenly we're there, and I forgot. I really wanted to credit.
She actually goes into a whole explanation of why she was in her room and stuff like that in an interview that just didn't make it to that episode because
It's not necessary.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it took like 2 minutes.
I totally meant to credit Robert for additional camera for that episode. but I couldn't I forgot.
You stink butt.
And Angnor asks, was
Prepare your ignore.
was filming or interviewing the contestants when they were particularly emotional, tough on the crew at all?
Yes.
Did any crew ever have to leave the room or a particular situation? No. But
No. I mean,
it could get tough.
yeah, the confessional things, there wasn't actually any camera person for that. It was, the camera was just locked off so that there wasn't anything distracting the contestant.
Yeah, it was
And
just
so
me.
it's just Graham and them. I know for the interview bits, like from the second day, that like I personally was on the camera that was focused on the artist,
yeah.
and so which means that the artist could see me, and I was trying to not react to the answers that the artist was saying, because I didn't want to be like, oh shit, stuff like that, right? Or react to the questions that they're being asked. But there were a few times that there was also like the lights for the artist, and there's a few times that I just kind of casually leaned back behind one of the lights so that they wouldn't be able to see me without looking directly into a light. So they wouldn't have been able to see me because I was like smirking or just being like, ooh, it's like, or just grimacing or whatever, that I just couldn't help myself.
And to Agnor's next question, yes, all the contestants and crew became pretty good friends by the end of it. Kid asks 2 questions. Any of you, or any idea how many of you will be at PAX Prime? As many as we can manage. And what has been the biggest difference in shooting and editing Strip Search as opposed to regular videos? The editing, because it's like 1 million hours of footage.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a
And
lot
1 million
more
hours of editing.
There's a lot more raw footage. In terms of the shooting, it was definitely the most, like the longest sustained shooting we've done, of one thing. And so that made the shooting a lot more difficult, where it was just, sort of every day for the entire length of the show.
Oh,
So-
the hours we work. Like, everybody's commenting on like the merch booth episode. They're like, man, the artists are looking tired. It's like that was probably like, that point was probably like peak exhaustion for all the artists and the crew. Were we doing it again, I would have actually put into like the schedule, like, no, we have to have a day where we don't film anything and we don't do any challenges and everybody just sleeps for like 15 hours. Because everybody was just exhausted, and especially because with the bringing Lexi back had caused everything to run extremely late, so people were like waiting until like 1:30 in the morning to do that reveal of Lexi coming back. So like, and we got back extremely late. They had all been up, and the wake up time was 7 a.m. for them. So if they weren't able to fall asleep immediately, which they probably weren't because it was so like crazy, they would have been running on, probably like 5 hours sleep, maybe.
And then of course when the contestants go to sleep, then we have a bunch of like post-production stuff to do, and pre-production and prepare, reviewing the footage and dumping the footage and evaluating what happened during the day, and then figuring out what we're going to be.
I gave Erica a hard
doing the
time
next
on
day.
Twitter because she was like, the artist got so little sleep on the show, and I was like, you got more than production did, I guarantee you.
Yeah, yeah, I think on like that day we all got like about 5 hours sleep. I think the next day, which we won't talk about what happened, I actually made the executive call to let everybody sleep in for half an hour longer. Because
you're ruining the schedule.
Oh, it was fine.
Foxmar asks, during your PAX East panel from 2012, James from Extra Credits challenges LRR to a magic draft. The winner would get to pick a topic on the other's shows. Whatever happened to this? Well, 1, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot too.
2, as busy as we are, James Portnow is a supremely busy motherfucker.
Yeah.
You cannot get 2 seconds with that guy. Like, every PAX, basically, he's like, I want to draft with you guys. I never get to play Magic. And I'm like, well, we're here, and there's a bunch of our friends from Magic are here. We should draft. And he's like, sweet, we're going to draft. And then it's like, we get to PAX, and it's like, when? I was like, I've got stuff I have to do.
So much stuff.
It's like drafting takes like 3 hours. There's
Yeah.
no way he's got that much time all in one chunk.
Not with that
Barely
like
has 5 minutes.
floater of people following him around.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just thinking on the subject of Strip Search filming, somebody, I think either in our forums or in the PA forums or something, was like, I wish next, or like for Strip Search 2 or whatever, they should totally, film the people who have been eliminated and like what they're doing off camera and stuff. And it's like, no, that's the point.
What? Yeah, that doesn't
is
make.
that
That's not.
once you've been eliminated, you don't get
Yeah.
filmed anymore.
I can't
Yeah,
think of
you-
a single reality show that does that.
Well, I mean, people just want to see
We could be
more
the
of-
first.
People just want to see more of the contestants because they're all wonderful and nice and likable. But at the same time, it's very stressful to be in front of a camera, and that would also require a completely separate camera crew.
Yeah.
Right? Like it would
Which
double
is-
the production.
Who for the first, in this case, for the first day would just be like a camera and a director and a sound guy just chilling with Alex
Yeah.
Hanging out with
for a
Alex.
day.
Oh, that'd be so awkward.
Yeah.
No,
And for that matter, that's also the reason why there is a little bit, there's like behind the scenes photos and there's footage that obviously we didn't use, but there isn't like, unfortunately we're not going to see like a loading time
No.
of strip search, because that again would imply a whole other camera crew to do that, and we did not have that kind of extra people around.
no.
Yeah.
Anybody who had a camera and was there was focused on the artists.
Foxmar says, and lastly, from that same panel, there was talk of a pilot episode for a series LRR worked on being put online. Will you ever put it online? We keep forgetting to do that.
Isn't it online? It's
No,
just not public.
No, it's not.
I thought we actually put it on YouTube.
Did we?
I don't know.
I'll check.
Yes is the answer.
All right.
Yeah.
It will be online at some point. We make no promises as to when that point will be.
Archie O asks, in Commodore Hustle Episode 1, who was the girl that Morgan brought home? I've always been curious as to who was in that costume.
It was me
It was Kathleen.
Yeah.
It was Kathleen in a wig.
in a wig.
Going,
Doing like a weird hunchback.
Yes. Not only was she ugly, she was also like a zombie, apparently.
Like, I actually was playing it more like a rat person or something like that. Like a mutant.
some different strip search questions. I'm going to jump ahead actually to Dr. Seuss or Susie. I've not actually heard the full Daft Punk single. I've only heard that little snippet. I like that, but
You haven't heard it yet?
I haven't heard it yet.
Oh.
I'll check it out
I've heard
after this.
I've heard it's just compressed out the ass. Like everything except the guitar is like super crushed down, which is kind of annoying for an audio file.
That sounds pretty like Daft Punk though.
Yeah, but like still, right? Like if you're going for a higher dynamic range of instruments and sounds, maybe don't crush them down the same way you would a techno song.
It is a techno song.
No, but like they have like real guitars and drums, right?
They've had real guitars and drums before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not what they do.
No.
Yeah.
Whatever. You hate Daft Punk. Shut
Yeah.
up.
It's good.
well,
I'll make you listen. The radio edit is released, not the full version yet.
I kind of am sad that the whole song, I think I posted this on Twitter, is not like what we heard, but then like and then it just like transitions to like 3 minutes of arrhythmical bongo throbs, like the new Knife album.
Just to mess with people.
There will be
Oh
a
my
lot of
God.
anger.
New Knife
would-
album's not that great, is it?
I didn't
well,
like it
it's
so much.
certainly is accompanied by by an almost unreadable political manifesto.
It's terrific. Woland asks, when you're in the U.S., are there ever moments when you forget that you are not in Canada?
Every time I pull out my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let me just. Oh,
There's times, because I mean, I guess it's partially
It's not
the circles that we move in, but
I don't think it's forgetting that we're not in Canada. It's remembering that we're in the States.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is exactly it.
I mean,
It's-
because when you're when you're at a convention, like when we were going down to Calgary, I imagine like the inside of a convention center looks basically the same no matter where you are.
Yeah,
But yeah, the phone not working is
No,
a big one.
it is-
And, but like it's the the people who we hang out with usually when we are at conventions and stuff, are awesome people who we generally are sort of like-minded with. So it's not like we're meeting all sorts of ridiculous, crazy American stereotypes
yeah.
that is turning us off. And for some reason, almost everybody we meet doesn't have a particular accent, which I think that might be
It's because nobody we know is from the South.
the people in
That's
this.
absolutely not true. Bradley has a huge accent.
It's true.
And my friend Josh, he lives in New York, but he's from Georgia, so he still
Bob-
has a bit of
Bob
an-
has a crazy accent when he's not on.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Well,
I mean, the
that's-
majority of a lot of people we know are from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
it's just
true.
like,
So it's just so I mean it's the difference between the like whatever the miles between Vancouver and Seattle are not that big.
Even in Boston, it's just like, it's remembering you're in the U.S. It's pulling out your phone and not having the 3Gs, or
and then
being
shedding
in
a single
danger
tear.
and being like, oh crap, I hope I have my health insurance renewed.
Oh yeah.
Or
That's the
I'm
other
just
one, yeah.
screwed.
I don't have a gun. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
How many of you watch Game of Thrones?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Oh.
I'm not up to speed though.
So no spoilers.
Do you have any particularly favorite characters or moments? But not from season 3.
Well, I mean,
That
of course,
thing-
of course, Peter Dinklage.
Basically,
Or
yeah.
the thing
I mean,
happened.
like,
That was pretty thing.
Like the
That was the
I don't know. Like, what characters do I like? I don't like Joffrey, but he's awesome.
I mean, I think part of the reason why, but part of the indication why Game of Thrones is such a good show is that I find I'm always really excited to see characters who I haven't seen interact together before. Interact, so it's like, oh shit, that guy's never talked to that guy before.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen. The characters
Yeah.
are so well developed. Like I remember when Tyrion comes to King's Landing in
Well,
season
that was
2.
like
in
what?
season 2.
That was he came to King's Landing in season 1, didn't he? Like at the very beginning.
Well, no, but like when after Joffrey is king,
Oh, okay.
and so because Tyrion and Joffrey have never really talked on the show,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh shit, I wonder what's
yeah,
going to
yeah, I
happen.
see
It's
what
like
you're
this is like one of the more awesome characters, and also the character that everyone hates. So it's like, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So stuff like that is what makes Game of Thrones really great. But I like a lot of there's, I mean, all the only guys that I'm not that big a fan of is like the 12 grumbly guys or swords guys who hang out with basically every character. Like every character has their own grizzled sword veteran guy who wanders around with them as their bodyguard. And
It took me a sec to keep a couple of them.
they're kind of interchangeable
Straight?
sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting better. Like as the series progresses, they're getting more different. But it's a little funny that way.
All right. I love the character Dr. Klein in the That's No Moon sketch. Any chance of him appearing in the future? Could
Possibly.
happen.
I could see him having other crackpot theories.
Hello, LRRs. 2 questions. First is about strip search. When the contestants do their interviews, the "This is my opinion of what just happened" segment, during the episode, what is the behind-the-scenes process? Do they recollect everything that happened after the challenge and you perform edit magic, or do they just do this during the challenge, or what?
Well, we did a couple of those every day, and we did a morning one and an afternoon one. But basically the process was the same. As the room would be completely cleared out except for Graham, so it would feel comfortable. And you described this part, actually, because I wasn't there.
Well, basically, I would just be asking them, like, we do one after the morning challenge and one after the afternoon challenge. And so the morning one would be like, all right, first of all, let's go back in time to last night. Let's talk about what happened when whoever it was who came home. What did you think when they came through the door?
I guess, I mean,
Were you expecting that?
the one part of, I guess, television magic in that is that we tell them to answer in the present tense as opposed to the past tense.
Whenever possible.
Whenever possible.
Which it didn't happen all the time. It's not an exact science. But
Which makes it so that we can, the editing together works a lot better, so that they're actually not speaking in the past tense. They're actually like, holy crap, that was amazing.
In the editing, there's a lot of, they'll start a sentence by saying like, well, when that happens, I'm thinking blah 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 blah, and you cut off the first part. So we show them doing something, and then we get to hear them say, "I'm thinking this."
Yeah.
Right.
Or like when just for like the thing where how the when we were doing the episode that just went up, the merch one, it was like, all right, you are coming into Card Kingdom. What are you thinking? And and Lexi's just like, I don't know what this store is. Like, I'm familiar with it because I've seen it sponsoring the Kristen Scott show, but coming in here, I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing, right? So you just cut to, I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she doesn't. You're not being, you're not lying about the edit there, but you don't need that whole preamble of she's seen it once in the Kristen Scott show, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's actually mentioned it, but you notice in the merch episode, the interviews or have a different background. It's because they were done actually at Card Kingdom.
At Card Kingdom, yeah.
Because just for how the timing worked out with traveling and stuff, it didn't make sense to take everybody back to the house, do the interviews, and then go do other stuff.
Yeah.
So
You'll notice this in other shows. If you're watching like something like Hell's Kitchen or something like Storage Wars, these aren't even on those shows. They aren't even happening the same day.
no,
Like they do. Like I know that on a show like Hell's Kitchen or like Top Chef, they do a day of shooting the event and everything, and then they do an entire day of just interviews about the previous day, and then the next day they shoot again. And on Storage Wars, obviously they all like because
the
they
Storage Wars ones are particularly obnoxious.
yeah, but on that one, like it's clear. See, this is the sort of stuff I think of from an editing standpoint, and if I'm ruining this for you now, I apologize, but this is not something that you would typically think of. Consider that what they're showing you on Storage Wars is that everyone is getting together at a thing, like at an actual auction. They do the auction, they buy the thing, they're going through it, and they're in the interviews they're talking about this. They're taking the stuff away, maybe up to a week, 2 weeks later. Who knows how long it takes for them to actually track down one of these supposed experts
Right.
on a thing, and take the thing there and get them to identify or grade it or price it or whatever. And only then do they have the full sort of narrative for the show. Only after that point can they then bring that auction buyer to the studio to do their interview parts. So
Yeah.
they're doing those stand-ups way later.
And sometimes you even see them where there'll be people commenting on things that they weren't there for.
Yeah.
Like, so they basically like must have showed them a rough edit.
You would
of
have
what
to.
Well, they do
doing.
that, yeah.
Because otherwise, how would you
There's-
remember?
we didn't have that option.
But I like that we had like I said, we did it the interviews rather than like having a day off to do the interviews. We did them a couple times a day. So I think that makes it better in terms of people's feelings are more sort of fresh.
So yeah, what we did is like for like the merch booth episode, we brought them into Card Kingdom. We had them do the challenge, and had them put together their booths, wait around while Robert and Brian were judging them, do all that, come back in, tell them the winner, and then put them all on the reality TV show as cold ice. Like, you can't talk about the show or anything, just so you keep your thoughts to yourself. And then we brought them in one by one, did their exit interviews. We started with Monica. Spoilers, by the way. We started with Monica, did everybody else's interviews, and then
Spoilers for what?
for the thing. If you haven't watched it yet,
This LRRcast isn't going to be up until the next episode.
no. But if
of
you
Strip Search
haven't
is
seen this episode of Strip Search,
All right.
spoilers, right?
Okay.
And so while all these other interviews are going around, Monica's looking at people's booths and blah blah blah. People are getting detailed feedback from Robert and Brian, which just doesn't make it into the show because it was already 26 minutes long, which is super long for web TV. And then once everybody else is going, bring back Monica back. We're like, all right, have you made your decision? Blah, blah, blah. And then she gives her sort of on-camera interview right after she's decided, or sort of, as with this one, in the process of deciding and trying to work it out.
We actually ran into a bit of a problem at Card Kingdom because the PA guys, while Mike and Jerry weren't there, obviously, Koo and some of the other PA guys are known in Card Kingdom, or like known in the community. And so they see, people who are just actually legitimately at Card Kingdom to play games and buy stuff and things. They see a bunch of these Penny Arcade guys who they know.
They see camera people.
With cameras and all this stuff walk through, and they're like, oh crap, what's going on?
Somebody also recognized us too. I think honestly, so one of the people who was there probably put two and two together, because it had been announced that we were working on Strip Search at that time. And I'm pretty because some guy was like, he came up to me, he's like, you guys are Loading Ready Run. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you guys are here with Penny Arcade. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, and then walked away. And I was like, this guy totally fucking figured out what we're filming, but was clearly smart enough not to ask me any questions about it.
So yeah, we had to we had a couple of the Penny Arcade guys who were sort of acting as like a firewall between making sure that the contestants didn't talk to anybody and get
rumbled.
or get rumbled as to what was going on and all this stuff. So
Oh yeah.
and we had to in like the room, the back room there. We like blocked off all the windows and stuff.
Oh my god, yeah, that's amazing.
I just realized I've been avoiding Magic related questions, not knowing that our local game store actually retweeted my request for questions. So we'll have to get to those Magic questions at some point later. But
Yeah.
Magic is for a different podcast.
I will stop talking about strip search, but it was really interesting just to try and do crowd control in that venue, because if you had realized what was going on and you realized and you had the forethought to like snap a photo or something like that, because we did have the contestants coming in.
Let's not encourage this. Let's not tell people how cool that would be.
All right, fine. This is how my mind works.
Yeah, super. It's going to make season 2 a real bastard. There's no plans in the works for season 2. I'm just saying. Gap Filler asks, did Paul ever see that Green Lantern Transformers 3 double bill?
What?
I don't know. Gap Filler always listens to the old podcast and asks us follow-up questions to something we said 2 years ago.
Did I say that I was going to go do that?
I'm assuming you did.
Oh.
You didn't do that.
I did not, but I mean, I was initially, because those are two bad movies that I kind of wanted to see. In the interim time, I've seen Transformers 3, and it was indeed disappointing.
Truth.
And
I
was
fell
like,
asleep during Transformers.
I have not seen Green Lantern though, and I don't really have any great desire to. But unfortunately, I have to say, ever since Matt went to Vancouver, our movie watching has gone way down.
I just don't invite you.
Oh. All right. The movie watching that I get invited to has gone way
Yeah.
down.
Gab Filler also asks, are any of the crew fans of bullet hell shoot 'em ups?
No, they make me nervous.
I wish I could play them. I kind of like
I
the
like
idea.
to watch them, and I appreciate the amazingness of them. But I'm not good.
No, I had a really good one for iPhone for a while, but then it wasn't quite. There was something with the controls that wasn't quite great. But no, James.
Nope.
Okay, sorry, Gap Filler. The rest of your question doesn't make sense now. Graham, as the host of Strip Search, you have given the artists all their tasks and challenges. Do you think if you just approached one of them now and gave them a task and a time frame, they would do it?
Oh, probably.
They probably would, actually.
Deeply ingrained.
Just because they're nice folks.
We actually had kind of a running joke during Strip Search that whenever we just like making up challenges between us, and then we was like, as a webcomic artist, you'll be often called upon to, dive into freezing cold water.
Yeah.
So this challenge is dive into freezing cold water, or just
First person to come back with a shark attached to them is the winner.
Yeah, coming up with
As a
terrible
webcomic
challenges.
artist, you'll be often asked to make me some coffee.
Yeah.
So,
make some coffee.
challenge today. You have 10 minutes.
Please make us some fucking coffee.
Graham, were you around for the eliminations, or were you waiting back at house with the artists? Well as host, more importantly, I was also directing a lot of this. And so, yeah, I was at the eliminations. I wasn't involved in like the decision making or anything, but it was really important that I be there to like tell the cameras where to stand and everything, and know what we would need to shoot to make the whole thing come together.
Probably see his feet in the background occasionally.
Probably. Oh man, WrestleMania. I enjoyed WrestleMania. I thought the CM Punk, thought the Punk Undertaker angle went too far. What? Are you kidding? That was a great match. I like Punk. It was great.
Isn't Punk like the heel that everybody loves?
Yeah.
Like he's a
okay.
face.
Okay. You guys, you probably remember this. Their Undertaker has a move he does. They call it Old School. I don't know why, but he like twists the guy's arm and sort of pulls them towards the corner, gets up on the top of the rope, walks along the rope a little bit, and then like jumps down and like hits their arm.
Yeah.
Right? Why in all the years of wrestling has no one up until CM Punk at WrestleMania thought to just pull so that he falls and hits his nuts on the ropes?
Yeah.
It's the first time that's ever happened to The Undertaker.
I think
That's why
I
everybody
think-
loves CM Punk, right?
I think the reasoning
Yeah.
is that if people started picking holes in various people's
Yeah.
Exactly.
finishing moves,
Exactly.
then nobody would get anywhere.
That is, yeah. That wasn't actually a rhetorical question, even though I may have sounded like it was. That's exactly why.
Yeah,
But the
it's
reason this was
almost all the
awesome-
finishing moves are silly.
Yeah,
Well,
but
almost every move ever.
Yeah, but the reason this was great is because he did that, and it's sort of like, what? You're not supposed to do that. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I thought it was a really good thing.
Kills the magic though. The magic
No.
of the finishing move.
No, it was pretty sweet. It's not even a finisher even more. So.
Yeah, it's not his finisher. Tombstone, man.
Couldn't help but chuckle over the fact that the people you picked to sponsor your live Magic drafts gave you room for the convention challenge on the most recent strip search. Who picked the location, PA or you guys? That was us, actually.
yeah. Well, I mean,
We thought that room would work.
well, the thing is, we needed a location where you could do a convention, and we needed a location where they had tables available to us, and we needed a location where we could also film interviews, and we needed a location where we could also get food brought in because this would be around dinner time. You know, so there's smoothies in the background because we supplied everybody with smoothies, and we fed them later. And we're like, all right, we need all of this, and we need it to be cheap or free.
Well,
Oh wait,
not the food.
no, but not the food, but like the location, because it would like to rent out like a whole like space like that could cost you a lot of money, and it would. And we're like, wait, we know some people we're on really good terms with.
The trick was, big thanks to Card Kingdom and Dan there for helping us out with that. Because the trick was that, just like you said, it was the space concerns. So, but my pseudonym is Ix asks, why have we seen so much more of people like Kate, Beach, and Cam over the last year-ish? Because we've seen less of Jer and Matt and them.
Yeah, I mean
We
yeah.
need a certain number of people to make these videos.
Mm-hmm. And Jer was in school, and now Matt's in school.
What do you believe? Where do you believe you've gotten the strangest inspiration for a video, or perhaps what's the longest jump in logic that's gone from inspiration to video? Sort of like, how did I get to there from this? That's a good question.
To come back to that.
Strangest inspiration. Yeah.
Well, for me it's easy because I've only ever written one video.
What inspired it?
Somebody told us that we needed a video with the Ninja Smoke Getaway. They were like, "You guys never done that," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." And then I wrote that,
Nice.
and that was my inspiration because somebody said you haven't done this yet,
I liked.
and I'm pretty sure that was the same with same reasoning behind. Is it Xavier?
Yeah, I was gonna say Xavier.
Where Andy saw a hole. That hole being we did not have a video that started with X.
Yeah, we
so
had
he wrote a video.
We had every other letter.
Yeah,
but
so
not
he wrote a
X.
video that started with X.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that. Yeah.
Because first I got to remember the inspiration, and then I got to think of it.
yeah.
I don't even know. I can't answer that question.
I just know it's going to be something like we were having a conversation, and then
I mean, there's the story I told for the Café de Catapult, which was that my brother phoned me. He was living in Kingston at the time, and he phoned me because he wasn't able to look stuff up on his phone, and he wanted me to look up where something he was going to was. So he phoned me from Kingston. He was like, "Paul, look this up on your computer," and I looked it up on like the community calendar for Kingston, and there was something called Théâtre de la Catapulte that was going on, and I was like, "Dan, do not go to Théâtre de Catapulte. It's gonna be a trap." And so that inspired me to write the Café de Catapulte.
And that's basically it. The last question was, if you weren't living in Victoria, where else in Canada would you like to live?
Ow.
That sounded really painful.
No, it's just resident. I would actually not live anywhere else in Canada, and I tell you why. I have lived in northern BC, and so I do not like the cold. And so I'm not going to live anywhere north. But the problem is Victoria is like the warmest place in Canada. And I don't want to live in Vancouver because it's too expensive. And if I'm going to move to someplace expensive, I'm going to move to Seattle. They sound like a Canadian abandoner, but if I'm not going to live here, I'm going to live in Seattle, to be completely honest with you.
I haven't been to enough different places in Canada to really evaluate, but I always like the look and feeling the impression I get from Montreal, that I think would be really neat there. And Montreal is a ridiculously strong comedy place, so that would be it seems like that would be a logical thing to do, and it's got that neat sort of French vibe to it too, which I quite like. So that's someplace I would definitely like to check out. It could be that like I go there and it's like, oh my god, this is the worst place ever.
Montreal is super fun. Like I
But
went there once, and
You
it
just
was
deal
really,
with the winters though.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
winter's
I mean,
so
winter's
cold.
gonna suck. But
Yeah.
and it's like there's like lots of cool stuff about living in Toronto, but of course, again,
It's
You're
expensive.
in Toronto.
like the weather is gonna be really bad, and there's
Yeah.
various other stuff about being in Toronto. But on the other hand, you have access. You're in the place where everything is sort of going on in Canada, which is kind of nice.
Mm.
I'd move to Mill Bay.
What's in
What,
Mill Bay?
Mill Bay,
Seems
Ontario?
No, Mill
No,
Bay.
Up Island.
Up Island seems like. I mean, unless I could say like.
That's close.
Yeah.
Seems quiet.
Yeah.
There's a ferry there, which
The,
is nice.
the thing is that it's close enough that like it's not really like it's like a 25-minute drive to Victoria, right? So it's not like you're far. Basically, I'd rather
I would
stay
move
here.
to Langford.
Ugh. I have lived out in the country.
Langford's not the country.
No, but like I have lived out in the country, and like you could not pay me enough money a year to ever move out of a city. Like I will never live in a city smaller than Victoria again.
No, I definitely
have
wouldn't
some
want to live
very-
in a city, but I don't want to live in like Vancouver or Seattle.
No.
Pain in the ass.
I like it. I like cities. Hey, everybody
city
has
that I-
different preferences.
So we love Victoria, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we'll stay here.
You know what else Victoria has? Good coffee.
which we're gonna go put in our bodies.
To be fair,
Yes, that's the segue to
To
wrapping
be fair,
up.
Seattle also has good coffee.
We have Seattle's best coffee.
I was trying, which is owned by Starbucks.
Yes, true story.
Seattle's best coffee is
Really?
is also
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
because it was too much.
Fooled you! It's
Yeah.
actually a Starbucks.
Yep. Basically.
Actually, they keep their production chains
Ka-ching.
completely separate.
I know they do. I know.
Thanks, Captain Lou.
It's like it still works because Starbucks is Seattle's best coffee. So
It's amazing.
we're not lying.
Yeah. Anyway,
anyhow.
that's it for this week. Thank you guys for listening.
Woo!
Kathleen and I will try to record one of these next week while the other guys are in Calgary and say hi to them there.
Yeah.
All
right,
everybody dance now, apparently.
I refuse.
Are y'all ready for
Bye-bye.
this? Do, 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 do.